Welcome to Alchemical. My name is Dennis William Hauck, and together we will explore the ancient mysteries of alchemy. The drawings have such deep meaning, and they express so much symbolically, which was a new way of communicating for me. When I was used to working with quantities and logic and formulas, whereas working with the alchemical materials, you have to be intuitive, you have to meditate a little bit on them, you have to slow down your thought processes instead of speeding them up, and absorb the meaning here by the qualities they're trying to express. This drawing I found in Azov of the Philosophers. It's the original print was just black and white, in bad condition. I've restored it. What we do with this, it's a mandala. So you focus your attention here at the center of the mandala, and you work with all these symbols around it, and you try to get all these symbols come together in one meaning or one message. And it's easier to do that, I've found, in meditation, if you put it in bright colors, each color having a meaning in alchemy. You're able to close your eyes and have what's called an eidetic image, or an image that's persistent because of the brightness of the colors, and you actually meditate on that closed eye vision, and that seemed to work better. But a lot of people have this, since I've been writing about it, have this drawing in their homes. Sometimes they'll put a mirror here and meditate on their own face in this drawing. But what you see here is the face of the alchemist with this symbol of divine grace coming down. That's a symbol for water also, but it's also the symbol for divine grace, or divine energy coming down to the planet. So what you see in the center of that triangle is the face of God. And that idea that the face of God and the face of the alchemist could be one and the same, that we could perfect ourselves to that height, became, of course, something they kept secret from the church at the time. It wouldn't have been accepted, but that was the meaning there. And all these operations, which it couldn't be easier, I mean, they're numbered, 1, 2, 3, through 7. These are the operations of alchemy that you go through. Calcination is working with fire. Dissolution, working with water. Separation, which we talked about in the lab and worked with in the lab, is separating the essences to make sure you just got the essences, that usually the masculine and feminine powers, positive and negative, and then you bring them back together in this new birth, and then you take that material and repurify it on a whole new level. So this is a turning point. These are the operations below, and working with the crude matter. These are the operations above, working with the purified matter. So the next operation here is fermentation, where new growth is added to the material that you're working with. It takes on a new life, and the birth of that life comes through the essence that you get through the operation of distillation. Here, the two birds nesting is about this birth. In fermentation, a good way to think of it is like making wine. You let the wine rot, the grapes rot, and the essence of the grapes becomes the spirit of wine. And that's the fermentation process. And here, the symbol for this operation was the unicorn. Basically, it's saying you can distill yourself, you can distill your own energies, and they're talking sexual energies here. So you bring the sexual energies, as in Eastern work, tantric alchemy and other things like that, up to the head, and that's what this single horn at the head means. It's sublimated energy, it's distilled energy. And the legend here is that only virgins can approach the unicorn. So there's a lot in the myth too that elaborates on these operations. And the final operation is resurrection, where an androgynous figure comes out, a hermaphrodite sometimes, meaning that the masculine and feminine sides of you have been brought together. This drawing is another one I found in the archives at the University of Vienna that inspired me to do the work. In fact, this is called Tabula Smaragdina, which is Latin for emerald tablet, which was a very important document which I devoted a lot of my life and time to to finding historically sources for the Emerald Tablet and its writings and how they were interpreted. But basically, it's taking the message of that short document, that 13-paragraph document, and putting it in visual forms. And the tablet says, "As above, so below." So that's the first thing you notice about this, is that it's a distinct area above and a distinct area below. And the differences here are all discussed in the Emerald Tablet. This section here is actually a projection of the work into our reality. So there's a third axis here in this drawing, actually. So it's an amazing compilation of energies that the more you meditate on this, the more it becomes alive in you. This center part, again, is like a mandala, and you focus your attention here. At the center is Mercury, which is the transformative possibility within us, our intellect, and also every metal, every material thing has its own Mercury in it that causes its transformation. So that's projecting out into this area. It's called the Philosopher's Stone. And when you integrate that with the above and below, is when that becomes activated within you. The 5 birds of alchemy, the crow, the goose or swan, and the rooster, the pelican of distillation, and here the phoenix rising from the flames, the ashes at the end of the work. Here is the stars separating the above and the below. And we see here the clouds of unknowing, and we see 2 opposite sections, the masculine and the feminine. Logic, aggressiveness, and passiveness, but intuition too, and feelings. So that is not only in nature, but it's within our own psyche too. We have these masculine and feminine parts that we have to bring together in order to break these chains of unknowing and be able to enter where the alchemist is at, bring these 2 parts together to become the alchemist, and able to travel in all realms, above and below. The feminine chain to the dark side, or the unconscious artistic impulses, you could call it, that connected to nature, having a deep connection to the unexpressed or lunar energies, and the man, or the masculine consciousness, logically charging forth into the world, the solar presence in the world, and both of them live in their own world. So it's about bringing those together, and these trees all represent different operations in alchemy in order to accomplish that. So once that first step of the work below, the purification and unifying of the opposites occurs, then we can travel to the above and activate this stone, or activate this within the experiment, or within our own psychology, or within our own soul, this secondary process that's on a whole different dimension, coming out this way and working through us, through the combination of nature. So you've got, in the above, you've got the 3 principles of alchemy called the triad. Here it's shown as Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. But it's, in alchemy, it's sulfur, mercury, and salt. And those are the 3 principles that are present and that you try to release in the work. And these cherubs, or angels, there's 22 processes going on here, are archetypes, archetypal energies above. Not only is there energy above and matter below, but there is something else going on in the universe called the hidden sun, or the black sun, or the sun behind the sun. So this is initiatic teachings about this process, that there is something in nature behind it all, that there is something outside the universe that is projecting the idea that this is all taking place, but there's still something beyond that, beyond the universe. And that idea is not necessarily God, what we think of would be the divine idea, but it's something like the one mind that's described in the Emerald Tablet.